Hi everyone, it's your favorite atomic blonde here. How you all doing? So I just wanted to sort of jump on, and I know I can hear you just going, what are you on about? Project Hail Mary's nothing like Star Wars. What the heck? How can you even compare the two? I can hear you. Um, no, I mean, and you're right. Other than they're both set in space, how are they alike? But no, this has been playing around in my head for a little while. People who know the channel know I've been talking about the book and this film for a while. I'm very excited to go see it. I've got tickets to go see it tomorrow, so review incoming. But the reason is, like, you're absolutely right in terms of, like, look, Project Hail Mary isn't going to spawn a trilogy, or it shouldn't. Andy Weir basically has just said that I'm not planning on writing any sequels. Hopefully the studio just won't go off and do something stupid, assuming this is a success, which I think it will be. It's I don't mean it in that sense. What I'm talking about here is kind of, sometimes, there are great movies out there who, for whatever reason, just released at the wrong time. For example, I know something like Dread, okay, which is a brilliant film. Again, you can go check out my rewind on that and why it is such a great film. But there was other great films and they didn't really know how to market it. And for whatever reason, it never got that traction at the cinema. I mean, it's huge on, like, physical media, and people are clamoring for a sequel even now. But sometimes things just have to hit the zeitgeist at the right time. And the reason I'm saying this, like, if you're around my age or a bit older, and you remember what the world was like back in the late 70s. Now, I can't profess I really remember what the world was like, but I remember being taken to see Star Wars and the effect it had on people. Now, if you think about the world at the time, it was pretty gloomy. It was pretty gritty. On both sides of the pond, things weren't great. You still had the Vietnam War going. There's financial problems, obviously, domestic problems here in the UK. We had constant strikes. Rubbish wasn't being collected. It was piling up on the sides of the streets. We didn't have enough electricity, which we are heading for for now here in the UK. Yay, well done, Miliband. So there was, like, blackouts, and when you look at the cinema and the TV of that time, it was quite gritty, it was quite dark, it was really reflecting society. So whether that was films like The French Connection or Raging Bull or Taxi Driver, they were all quite nihilistic. They were, and even on TV, it was like cop shows and things like the Sweeney here in the UK, and everything was, like, quite gritty, and the sort of the underbelly of society, and everything's, like, a bit crap, right? And then this film was something that we'd never seen, special effects wise. But my take was that things, at those points where, obviously you had the Cold War raging, but those points where, things are pretty bleak, and you look out, you turn on your TV, you open your electronic paper, as it is these days, and then, so many people I'm speaking to are just like, oh, I'm not even watching the news anymore. I can't, there's just too much bad stuff going on. And all you need is that chink. So at the time when Star Wars came out, it was called Star Wars. And now it's sort of been renamed A New Hope. And there was this breath of fresh air that it was about heroes, and how the small guy could make a difference, and how this group of, rebels, this group of good people, was standing up to this oppressive empire that, was just dictatorship that had enslaved the galaxy. But there was, with hope and with, teamwork and, good morals and all those kind of things could take down this empire. Now, obviously, in Star Wars came out, we didn't know it was going to be a trilogy. Nobody knew it was going to be a trilogy. But the rebels won, right? They destroyed the Death Star. They basically, the resistance had brought down the Nazis, and that's kind of what we want. And obviously, there's lots of influences on Star Wars that I could go into, like Dune and samurai things, etc. But at that time, it was such a breath of fresh air. It was positive. It was optimistic. It was like, we're all feeling so oppressed and disillusioned. And this thing that just came out and said, you know what? The small man can make a difference. If enough good people get together, we can make a difference. And so right now, like I said, and the problem with it, we're in sort of mirror, it's so ironic. You kind of look you can go back and watch a film from, I don't know, the early 80s. And when it's talking about politically what is going on, you got the Cold War, enemies with Russia, there's problems in the Middle East, the economy's tanking, fuel prices are through the roof. You can't, if somebody took the date out of there, you don't know whether they're talking about the late 70s, early 80s, mid-noughts or now. It's the country's probably the worst, or the globe is probably the worst it's been in 40 odd years. And we've got this little movie coming out, or quite a big movie coming out, Project Hail Mary. Now, as you know, I would say I've read the book, but actually it is the Audible. I audibled the book, whatever the term is. And this book is fantastic. I love this book so much. It has heart, it has the hero's journey, it has camaraderie and friendship, and the reason I'm sort of saying is this the new Star Wars? Is like, is it that thing that's just that people need? Is it that thing that will get people to the cinema? Is it that escapism, that level of hope that we just don't have in our pop culture anymore? The reason like Star Wars was created, it was kind of on the back of, people who had fought in the Second World War. They wanted to see an optimistic future. They wanted to see that, we'd got above all our petty hatreds, and it didn't, it didn't matter what religion you were. It didn't matter what country you came from. It didn't matter your ethnicity or your class, right? We were all striving to be better people. And shows like Doctor Who. So kind of out of all those kind of adversary, these positive science fiction shows came out, and everything we get now is nihilistic, it's dystopian, it's always like showing the worst of people. There's no hero's journey anymore, and that's again like why I think A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms done so well. It was this hero's journey. It was this humble guy who just had morals, and he knew what was right and he knew what was wrong, and he fought for that. And people have just responded to that so well. And I'm just really hoping that maybe Project Hail Mary is that first domino that triggers that, hey, twee we can make escapism for people again. We can make positive TV. We can make positive films without it being trite and, twee. This film, like I say, has proper science fiction in it, proper science. It's not dumbing down. I would say if it stays true to the book, fingers crossed, and what I'm hearing, it does. I will let you know after I see it tomorrow. But do you just think I'm bonkers, or do you agree with me? Are you planning on seeing Project Hail Mary? Do you think it could make a difference? Could it really help pivot and change the type of movies that we're getting, the type of TV that we're getting? Can we get intelligent sci-fi back? Can we get positive futures back? Can we get TV, even things like the X-Files? It was like, the underdog in the basement rooting for the truth, and trying to get those positive outcomes and sticking up for the, Mulder was the underdog. Can we get that intelligence back into our programming and our films? I am so excited for this film. I really, really hope it resonates with people, because it is about, bringing out the best of humanity, bringing out the best of the, in impossible odds, that somehow we managed to think ourselves out of trouble. We managed to, you know, do the impossible, and just humanity striving, like not giving up, and all those wonderful things that our stories used to be. So anyway, and I digress a little bit, but that stupid speech by Kurtzman, like science fiction isn't about the future, it's about now, which explains why the whole of Kurtzman Trek is so crap. Completely misunderstood what Star Trek was about, completely misunderstands what sci-fi is about, and it explains absolutely everything. I've got everything crossed that man is out and as far away from Star Trek as possible, as absolute possible. I don't think there's any hope for Doctor Who right now. No one wants to, like he said, we can't find anybody to play the Doctor. I'm pretty sure there's lots of I don't know, maybe white men out there that would want to play the Doctor, but they're probably not asking them, are they? Anyways, I digress. But great news, they found 2 lost episodes from the Dalek Master Plan, William Hartnell's era. So I think they're looking to get those onto BBC in April. So that's worth looking out for. But I completely digress. So I'd love to know your thoughts around this. As I said, are you planning to go see Project Hail Mary? Do you agree with me? Could this be the new Star Wars for this generation, that they watch something that just captures their imagination, makes them feel hopeful, maybe wants to go into science, maybe want to become astronauts? I don't know. Could this be the thing that we can see an actual pivot from Hollywood or even the BBC, from anybody? Let me know what you think. And I will be back with my Project Hail Mary review. So see you soon and take care. Bye-bye.